One of the hardest things in life and parenting is raising our children in a fashion that we enable them, on the one hand, to develop into the people that they innately seek to become, in accordance with the talents that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has blessed them with, pursuing roads that give them happiness and fulfillment in life. Yet simultaneously, as parents, we feel the responsibility to try to guide them in a particular direction that will enable them to accomplish in life on the one hand, but simultaneously not to have to struggle too greatly. This being the case, Rav Pam, Zichrono Livracha, the Rosh Yeshiva of Torah V'das, bemoaned the fact that many a parent had a child who blossomed in learning, who took to learning like a fish to water, and yet at the end of the day did not remain as a Klei Kodesh, as a Mechanech, or as a Rav, as a Mora, as a teacher, but rather pursued something other than the field of serving Klal Yisrael, simply because the road itself was a far more easy one. Said Rav Pam, in this week's Sedra of Emor, when we have the delineation of the different types of animals that may be brought as karbanos, as sacrifices, and those that may not be brought, we're told, Visharva says saruv v'kalut. If we have an ox or we have a sheep, saruv v'kalut, if it has a limb that is larger than another limb, or if it has a hoof that is unsplit, then it may not be brought as a karban. Nedava ta'asa oso, it may be brought as a contribution to the Mishkan or to the Beis Hamikdash. It may be brought to that which is known as the Bedek Habayis, to the treasury that was ascribed the responsibility to see to it that there was a maintenance of anything and everything that went into the structure and the affordability under the roof of the Mishkan or the Beis Hamikdash. But ulaneder lo yeratze, but it can never find its way to the top of a Mizbeach. And the Gemara in Tamura tells us, based upon this pasuk, Nedava ta'asa oso ta'asa nedava, that if something has a mum, if something is not perfect and is blemished, then indeed it has a place in the Beis Hamikdash, it has a place in the Mishkan, but in the coffers of maintenance. V'iyata osa tamim nedava lebedek habayis. But if something is unblemished, if something is perfect, then already one is not permitted to give that to the bedek habayis. V'kanomru hamakdish tamimim lebedek habayis over ba'aseh. Should anyone give something to the bedek habayis, which is charged with the maintenance and the retainment of everything and anything needed in the daily runnings of the Mishkan or Beis Hamikdash, that could actually be brought as a perfect karban on the Mizbeach, then one transgresses the asay of this pasuk, also sa'aseh nedava. Said Rav Pam, at times, young men, and by extension young women, have such a love for learning and such an ability to stand at the front of a classroom, or on the bima of a shul, or at the head of a beis medrash. And indeed, they can impact so greatly upon Klal Yisrael. They have so much to give to people. They're good at it, if not great at it, and they love to do so. But they choose to do something other than that, rather to enter the realm of the bedek habayis, of those who nobly, rightfully, applaudibly support Torah on a daily basis. But they're not the leaders of Torah. They're not those who are charged with imparting the teachings of Moshe Rabbeinu through the chain of command of Klal Yisrael received by Matan Torah throughout the generations. And that's the problem. Now, it's true that not every Rebbe necessarily should have entered the classroom. And not every Rav who entered Rabbanus should have done so. Perhaps even not every Rosh Yeshiva should have done so. And would have been far better and far more responsibly successful having chosen something else. But should an individual who would have been magnificent in such a position choose a path in life that is far easier, far more rewarding, not spiritually, but monetarily, well, then perhaps that individual or the parents raising that person are guilty of also that individual, that karban, should indeed be to better kabayas, but a person who is tamim, a person who is whole, a person who has mesiras nefesh and such a love to share and teach the beauty of Torah, the secrets of Torah, the understanding of Torah. That person has to be a member of Klei Kodesh. I remember that many, many years ago, a sociologist who was the son of a very chashuv Rav, an outstanding Rav, made the statements that when their future rabbis of Klal Yisrael chose to become doctors instead, that's when Judaism became sick. As parents, we need to reflect upon it. As leaders of Klal Yisrael, we need to be forever aware of a student who can make a significant impact in not simply the study of Torah, but in the forming of a personality of Torah that can then be shared with others. How greatly we need understand what the psukim in Emor are telling us. Have a wonderful Shabbos.